Representative Perillo, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Myths and excuses indeed. Myth. Taxes will be paid predominantly by folks from out of the state of Connecticut. Not true. We've heard over and over about 70% of the toll revenue will be generated by residents of the state of Connecticut. Myth. There won't be any tolls near me. They'll only be paid by somebody else somewhere else. In reality, we've seen studies that show as many as 120 tolls here in the state of Connecticut. Members of the chamber, look to your left and look to your right. The constituents of the people you've looked at will be paying tolls. Myth. What has been proposed to us is this concept that out-of-state drivers don't pay their fair share. That this is about equity. This levels the playing field, keeps everyone accountable. But if that is to be true, you have to also argue for true relief to residents of the state of Connecticut. True relief in the form of a reduction in the gas tax. And it has been positioned that indeed there is one in this bill. I would argue that is simply a hope and not a promise. And those who position it as a promise are being dishonest with the voters of Connecticut. Fact, for a cut in the gas tax, there is a trigger. That trigger states that the Special Transportation Fund balance must be 2.5% of covenants. 2.5%, 2.5x is an amount that we have hovered on in the last few years, barely. And in fact, it is indicated that number will decline. So to say that we are going to cut your gas tax is absolutely positively dependent on whether or not we meet that threshold, and it is a threshold that right now we are slated not to meet. This is not a promise, this is a hope. But let's say that that actually is true. Let's say that we meet that threshold. That great promise of a gas tax cut, that promise to voters and residents that makes them say, oh yeah, I can live with tolls. That promise, 1 penny per year for 5 years. Ask a resident of the state of Connecticut, do you want tolls? And oh, by the way, we'll cut the gas tax by a penny. They will laugh at you. They will laugh at you. Now, if we were really serious about equity, if we were really serious about cutting the gas tax, if we were really serious about giving relief to the residents of the state of Connecticut, we would eliminate the gas tax, 25 cents. And you know what? We could do it. We could do it because by all accounts of what we heard in terms of testimony is that we will generate hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, the gas tax generates about 350. And if we believe the folks who say we'll generate revenue out of this, they're putting out numbers that are far greater than that 350. We could do it if we had the will. We could do it if we were truly interested in equity. But I would argue that we are not. We are truly interested, proponents are truly interested in a money grab. That is the driver here. It isn't fairness, it isn't equity, it isn't relief from the gas tax. If we were serious about that, we would do it right. The myth here is that this is fair and equitable and gives relief to the residents of Connecticut. It is neither fair nor equitable, nor does it give relief to the residents of the state of Connecticut. 70% of these tolls will be paid by residents of the state of Connecticut. That's not relief. That's not relief. And despite what was said previously, this is a tax. It is. I know we may wish it not to be, but it is. So we have that choice today. Do we impose another tax or do we not? I say we don't. Thank you, Madam Speaker.